5 seconds to go. Start. I have to say that the government had positioned India as an authentic and fearless voice of the 113 strong nations of the non-aligned movement. It is worth noting that India was not even the automatic choice of those countries on whose behalf it claims to speak, and only less than 50% of them voted for India. It was really a dismal performance of India. Under the circumstances, the result was more than a setback. It was a veritable foreign policy disaster at the United Nations. Reputations are built at so much on heritage and history alone in these matters. We should now concentrate on building our internal strength. The days of moralizing and philosophizing are over. An urgent rethinking is required on many of the precepts dear to the Indian foreign policy, and there are many bitter lessons to be drawn from the debacle India lost in its diplomatic efforts, which it did half-heartedly and failed miserably. To that extent, I would say that Indian diplomacy has failed, and there was no lobbying which could be considered strong as was needed. The Ministry of External Affairs is accused of misreading signals and miscalculating the support India could muster. Besides, the Honorable Minister's articulation of a policy of asymmetry has attracted the criticism that India is being soft towards Pakistan. Therefore, in order to rebut this, there is a view that India should respond with a degree of detached realism when dealing with the current regime in Pakistan. Pakistan's latest overture has to be counterweighed with President Farooq Lehari's pronouncement a few weeks ago that Pakistan would sustain its moral, political and diplomatic support for the cause of the Kashmiri people. The Ministry of External Affairs has reacted to it with its usual caution, wait and watch. Madam, however, it is construed by the Ministry of External Affairs, insiders and Pakistan watchers that there is unlikely to be any dramatic shift in Pakistan's hostile stance towards India. The latest episode, this is known to everybody, however, went beyond the bounds of morality and international conventions. This was the incident when Mr. Ashok Wahi and his wife were beaten up and expelled, adding insult to injury. All these incidents which have happened make us believe that enough is enough, and it could result in snapping our diplomatic ties with Pakistan. The Honorable Minister's response was saintly. I would submit for his consideration that he should look at the wording in the above context in the context of the endless litigation it is likely to lead to. We know the time litigation takes in our country. It takes several years. In the Ministry of Finance itself, we know there are several excise cases involving hundreds of crores of rupees. The cases are pending for the last 8, 9 or 10 years. Injunctions were granted, stay orders were given, and these were not vacated for the last so many years. It is a matter of fact, I am sure, we don't want such a situation to repeat itself under this bill. In view of this, I would request the Honorable Finance Minister to consider whether it would be possible for him to rephase the bill in order to achieve the objective expeditiously and not to defeat the objective. Secondly, some mechanism is proposed in the bill. I am not very clear as to what this mechanism is for because it is the central government. According to my information, the mechanism in the United States of America is like this. There is an organization which is described as the International Trade Commission consisting of 6 judicial persons. Any complaint made by any organization or consumer about dumping in that country first goes with all the data to the International Trade Commission. The Commission asks the contending parties to submit their statements. Nobody appears before it. Only statements or affidavits are submitted before it. Once the Commission is satisfied, it refers the matter to the International Trade Administration, which is under the Department of Commerce. This organization goes into the details of the case and recommends anti-dumping duties. And without being unfair or irresponsible, I might state that the impression one gets is that very often this department recommends, even if the grounds may not be very good, very heavy duties on imports from other countries in the United States, protecting United States interests to the extent which appears to my mind indefensible. But that is a different point. After they recommend the duty, it goes back to the International Trade Commission, which gives the final order, and that order remains effective for a period of 2 to 5 years. Is the Government of India thinking of a similar mechanism? Though the International Trade Administration is a part of the Department of Commerce, this department considers only those complaints which the International Trade Commission sends to them, and it forwards their recommendations to the International Trade Commission, where again the aggrieved party has a right to make their submission. Stop.